We're gonna get started in a couple minutes. We've got a few people that are still waiting on showing up. All right, I think we've got. We're waiting on.
More connected being on campus from the small state.
It's almost.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. No, you don't have to come.
All right, guys, we're gonna get started on the call to order for our November 9th Go Team meeting. Glad everybody's here. Ms. Collins, you wanna call roll?
Carla Bell.
Here. Hi, everyone.
Oh. Present. All right, so we have 5 voting members, so we have 4 on. So we'll move on to approving our agenda for today's meeting. Everybody got that email that's posted on the website. I've had a motion to approve today's agenda.
Can I motion to modify the agenda slightly? Yeah. Sure. I want to add starting the discussion for PT information.
Okay.
And,
Yeah, I'll add a discussion item.
outside of that, I wish to.
So we have a motion to approve a modified agenda adding the PTA formation as a discussion item.
I second.
All right, we get a vote. All in favor, say aye or raise your hand. It's 5-4. No against. All right, and then we've got the approval of our previous minutes. And I mistakenly put August and September on here, but it'll be October's minutes that are posted on the website. We get a motion to approve minutes from October. Let's get a second. Vote, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye. 5-4. No, 0 opposed. We have, we still have a couple vacancies. Mr. Fuller talked with Mr. Harmon. He is our science lead teacher, and so he wasn't able to make it tonight. Said he's willing to join the Go Team. So we take a vote to vote him onto our Go Team as an instructional staff position. Everybody's good with that. Mr. Harmon. So I guess I'll make a motion to add Lorenzo Harmon to our Go Team as instructional staff. All right, we'll vote. All in favor of adding Harmon, would you say aye? All right, that's 5 and 0 opposed. And then we have some, we talked about student vacancies last time. We still have 1 parent vacancy that we talked about trying to find somebody who might be interested. So keep that in mind. Talk about student vacancies as well. So that's our action item. Oh, sorry, we got this one. Formation of a student experience committee. So last meeting we talked about starting a committee, and Mr. Christian, thank you for sending out information as well as for supporting that about what it takes to form a committee. Just I want to try to kind of summarize what we talked about last time. Essentially, we want to have a committee that focuses on the students' experience while they're here. And what does that look like? We also talked about doing some type of field trip or a service day For the calendar year is when it's much bigger. And so we talked about it might be good to have, or would be good to have a committee that can spearhead some of that stuff. So, Mr. Flores good with that. And we can point somebody to lead that committee, and one other go-to member for to be on that committee. Make sure that we don't want to have quorum at committee meeting, so we can't all go on it. But, figure out who's going to be on it, so form the committee and be on it. Any questions about? Like, did I explain it all right? Okay, yeah.
So when you say like, how many people be on the actual committee?
So it has to be less than 5. Votes. And you can have meeting members, they don't have to be all good. So we just can't have quorum at. So we need, somebody to be the chairperson, the lead, and then another person there.
So do we first motion to establish and then start kind of self-volunteering?
Yep. Yep. And then motion to start our student experience committee.
I'm sorry, Mr. Stanley. I'm sorry, just really quickly. One, it's really difficult to hear. And
Okay.
what I heard is you're going to try to form a committee, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and hello, everybody. I'm Diane Jacoby. I'm with the school. I'm the school governance liaison. I'm here to help. I did not catch what the committee's for. And also we have a committee resolution form. So that way it makes it easy for you, and you cannot have more than 3 go-team members on the committee. But you can bring in as many outside people as you want. So the committee will be comprised of the principal and their representative, up to 3 go-team members, and then as many non-go-team members as you all decide you want for this work. So, and what's the committee's purpose?
To focus on the student experiences here at.
Thank you. I'll forward you the resolution form if you'd like.
Yeah, that would be great. And is that something I should read through tonight?
It's not that hard. What's basically in the resolution form, if you give me co-host, I'll put it up and you guys can walk through it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
All right.
There it is. It's just one of those things to like help you guys lay out what you want to do. So you see here that it would be the Carver STEAM Go team shall have a name your committee that consists of, like I just told you, and then it just says that the goals and objectives are these things, and that you want the committee to be in place for this long.
Okay.
So it's just some of those guardrails around it. So I'm happy as you guys discuss and decide how you want to fill this out. I'm happy to fill it out and then send it to you filled out if you'd like.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Okay. Can you see it, or do you need me to make it larger? I'll make it a little larger. How's that?
Great. So.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
sorry.
thought you.
Come join us.
So do we go back to motioning and fill out the form, or do we fill out the form and then motion? I'm a little confused.
So because you have a motion on the floor to commit to develop the committee, you're fine. The motion's still there. So you can have the discussion to fill out the form, and then once the form is filled out, you can take the vote. Because the motion has already been made to create the committee, this is the process.
So back to motion, and so I motion to create the student experience committee.
Yeah, so we've got the motion,
All right.
and
sounds
so
good.
now we're gonna
Second.
fill out the form. So the
So
essentially,
this,
Carver
is-
Senior will have a student experience committee.
Right. And then the paragraph states the rules of the committee or what's participating in it, which you explained from the rules we read from the,
Right.
the,
Mhm.
I want to say the bylaws, but that's
The
not what it's
handbook,
called.
yeah.
The handbook, thank you. So then the advice committee has the following goals and objectives. We discussed that on the last meeting. Do you have that, do you have that deck from the last meeting? First proposal?
No, you have the minutes from last meeting?
Mhm.
So from the minutes from the last meeting, Ms. Wells said that we should focus on students and in turn parents will be involved.
All right,
Discuss field trips and exposure for students.
got it. So the first one will be kind of students, participation for A, right? I think what we talked about is we want to make sure that we find ways to celebrate the children. By establishing clubs, items that are more of a smaller scale that they can get into, so diversify
Yeah.
kind of the I'm losing my train of thought today, I don't know why. Diversify kind of what we have as an activity perspective so we can get the kids to shine. So I would say the goal is to, expand.
Diversify
We talked-
opportunities for students.
We talked about?
Yeah,
What we talked about was like, we had a few buckets, I'm gonna pull it up here. We had a few buckets we were looking at, related on student experience, the goal was to, like, how can we really focus on, like, where Carver's going from the stance of like marketing our school, saying why Carver's a great place to be at, and then what we can do as a committee to focus on having some legitimate results around student experience. So we landed on like, the first one would be like a service project, and we could focus on marketing our service project, how to show that Carver is in the community doing good work. But that's just the start of it, because again, I think that as a committee has to continue to climb the things other than the service project, competition,
Right.
better schools, developing different ideas, challenging other stakeholders
Right.
to a math contest, right? And just like really trying to go outside the box
right,
and show why like Carver is a great place to be, right? And
Yeah.
like ultimately that helps with achievement, it helps with enrollment, it really kind of propels the Carver
Absolutely.
narrative forward. But we have several buckets, I can pull it up, but we agreed on student experience.
Yeah.
We thought that, if the experience is great for kids, then it's gonna impact everything.
right.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is from this form, I'm trying to get through the formality of it. This form looks like you state
What our goals?
what the goals are and what the end result should be. That's what I take the arrow for. So like expanding and diversify extracurricular activities, and the goal is to grow. Trying to do it in like one quick sentence.
Student involvement, the growth,
I think it's like
Student engagement.
student involvement.
student engagement, yeah. And can I add, oh, I'm sorry, go Wayne.
Go ahead, Carla.
Oh, I was just gonna add too, and you may have said it, Mr. Fuller, I know we talked about recognition and identifying many meaningful activities, in terms of volunteer opportunities.
Right.
I think the bits of this, like getting more people involved, like I think it's like almost like stakeholder engagement.
Right.
And we need
Yeah.
to- As students are stakeholders, families are stakeholders,
Right.
community members, et cetera, but it's really around like the brand of Carver, like reaching every stakeholder.
Right.
And having something for everybody to be invested in.
Okay. So grow stakeholder engagement,
Right.
Yeah.
okay.
And the third goal of this was to, was it what you call it, community branding?
Right.
So to use the top 3 initiatives to further penetrate our community to get involvement.
Yeah, marketing.
Do we need 4 or is that fine?
You do not need 4. You could have just 1 if you wanted. We just kind of, we found through the years that most committees have a couple of goals, and we don't want people to think really limited with 1. But, we don't want necessarily 10. So, but if you have only 1 and it's really clearly defined, you can have a committee that covers only 1 goal.
Yeah, I think the
And
third.
please, I'm
is
trying to capture what you're saying. This
Mhm.
is for the team to decide what you like. If I am not capturing how you want to structure this committee appropriately, please tell me and I will update this form. I'm just trying to make it easy for y'all, that instead of duplicating work, I'm listening in, I can fill it out and send it to you so that you can attach it to your minutes.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We're all gathered on one table reading it along with you.
Okay.
And I think the last one is the Carver cluster branding, right? So increase community awareness using the committee's efforts to increase. I have to write this to read it. I'm sorry, but it's about that
Of the Carver.
cluster brand. Yeah. Because we'll kick it off, but hopefully the other members of the cluster will participate in it. So it goes beyond just us supporting one Carver. I think that's it.
Yep.
Okay. Did you want any changes in that? Nope. Good.
Still.
Okay. Your committee timeframe, is it for the rest of the year? Is it only until February? How long do you want this committee in place?
I think through the end of the year. You guys go with that?
In the school year.
Yeah, end of the school year, so May 24.
How about I just put down June 1st?
Perfect.
That way, if you have anything like that you want to start thinking about over the summer or whatnot, they have time to wrap up. And then it is the chair's job to appoint the chair of the committee. So
Chair of the committee.
I mean, I attend everything, so I won't object.
All right.
I'm already there.
So I'd like to appoint Wayne Christian as the committee chair.
okay.
And I'm the designee myself. Right, principal designee for.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you really have a choice.
And then we can have how many?
2 others.
Okay. Yeah.
Any other interest?
You might as well finish the form.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm down, I'll send.
I don't-
When are we gonna start meeting? In January,
Have you met me? It'll probably be like next week.
we're gonna be here next week.
Right, so our first event we talked about was December 5th.
December
right?
5th, yeah.
So the park, we gotta talk about this tonight, a little bit, well, like, and I think the committee could meet to really get more deeper. But we want to start off with the service project around partnership with Waco Charter School. But we had a couple, they had some leads on like.
yeah,
the
so like
project.
Operation Christmas Child's happening now, they could use people sorting toys and whatnot. And then the food bank can take 50 and Christmas Child takes 60. And so we're kind of limited as far, I mean, having 60 volunteers is a lot. of 50.
Right.
So that's maybe 25 from each school.
I think, right, we gotta pick one.
Yeah.
But let's probably finish this stuff first, and then we can get back into that, because I think that's like.
Yeah.
We may talk about we get the marketing we did.
Right.
What story we trying to tell, why we're doing this in the first place, and we get into all that stuff.
So I think we can now vote, so we have a motion, and now we can vote to form the student experience committee. And so we'll take a vote, all in favor of forming student experience committee. Say aye or raise.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, now we have student experience. Let me go to our next agenda item, and then do we want to circle back to that? I guess we'll just talk about it now. That's where we're on committees. We have 2 people, and then we can add up to 1 more.
I think we need to talk. Okay, we can add one more.
1 more go-team member, yeah.
So I think about like, this person brings like a valuable skill set to it. I can get the kids, especially you have your skill set, like what other skill set do we need to bring to the table when it comes to this?
Ms. Weiss,
Yes,
calling you out there. You got a huge network of philanthropists. Do you mind joining this committee with us as well?
I definitely don't mind being on a committee, but I definitely think we formed committees in SGA, and one of them is student experience. So maybe also a member from SGA to join if possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's unify and drive the same mission, I think is the best, right?
Yeah. All right. Screening data?
Don't forget the PTA
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Thank you.
I am. I heard Lockhart. We'll talk about it later.
Business Association office.
Mhm.
So there may be a connection.
From St. Croix?
No, from St. Thomas.
St. Thomas.
Oh, you're from St. Thomas. Going for Carnival this year, so, yeah.
St. Croix?
St. Thomas, yeah, we'll be there.
No, this is St. Croix.
So if y'all come in, we can, let me know.
I don't want to put this in.
Are you from St. Croix?
Marcus and I will be there. We leave the 28th.
Okay. One of my friends is from St. Croix, last name is Lincoln, I think, Shamal. Yeah, that's fine. Didn't know that.
But there's Lockharts on both islands too.
Yeah,
They're actually
it is.
related. So.
Cause I think my husband was great, was just in St. Croix visiting family.
Because everybody on the same point we were recorded. Alright, so the data we're gonna go over. Man, what was the word you said it was called? Screening data, okay, thank you. So this is our math, we're talking about fall math, or how our kids came to us. And so when you think about the context, what we're gonna look at, we're looking at primarily our 9th graders and our 11th graders. Right, so we talk about American Lit, so our 11th graders, kids who were in 10th grade last year, and who are now in 11th grade. So when you look at this numbers here, which means developing and above. Right, so it means that they're at the level of the developing learner, and there's 3 factors of learning. It's again developing and above, so they can fall in any continuum of above developing. Can be distinguished, to be proficient, etc. And so right now, in 11th grade, we have last year into the year, 25% of our kids developing unacceptable. That's to be transparent, not acceptable. And there's factors going to that. Like we have to do several things with like curriculum development, with our kids are coming to us on average, like grade level, either managers. Our job is to ignore the excuses and to grow students. So this year, our screening data, which is a good indicator, MAP is a good indicator on EOC scores. We're pretty much where we were at last year, 25%. Our goal was 50% of our kids are developing above, 49%. I believe that kids should be in our classroom and they should grow. They should not go backwards. We had some regression last year. And so this year, our goal is still high. And what we're doing in place is we have improved our curriculum development process, improved our professional learning communities, our play development, our cycle of feedback and going in, our coaching feedback, and data-driven instruction, focusing on deep engagement, standard task and alignment, and strong starts to every lesson. And utilizing the data and the feedback of teachers with low inverse notes to drive instruction and ultimately develop that teacher to be a real champion for kids. We're also implementing tutorials. We're implementing students having the opportunity to do recovery Fridays, and trying to really maximize every moment of instruction. We also added it before it was intervention block. Kids would go to intervention and it was focused on like what they didn't get. And the research was saying that like trying to recover skills isn't necessarily the best use of students' time, because we're spending time trying to fill foundational gaps. We've now established acceleration block. So we focus on accelerator to be ready for the lesson the next day. So every student is targeted is acceleration, and they will engage in acceleration, which will help them be more prepared for class on a daily basis. And that way, when they get to class, we're not worried about, okay, this class I worked on phonics or phonemic awareness, and in this class now I'm trying to get on grade level. So we're trying to make sure we're giving that tier 1 approach to ensure that every kid's having grade level curriculum every single day, and standard task alignment lessons that are going to get them on path of knowledge and success. And so I'm confident our system is going to do that, and I'm confident in the talent from the coaching the teachers are getting from the support lens, as well as the teachers in the classroom. Like, I do believe that we have the right keys in place as a system, so I'm excited for that. And I do believe that the results are going to yield that. So this is just preliminary data. And one thing that Carver does, and the data isn't marked, so I won't say what the numbers are, but we are proving that we do grow kids. We do fill gaps, we do grow kids, and you're going to see that. Also, there's a change in our school, which is going to be prevalent in the data as well, which we'll talk about enrollment here in a second, which is discipleship. So, our biggest growth area last year.
So,
Go ahead.
well,
Right.
2022 to 23, GMAT from the students that test,
Right. Jordan milestones.
right? And then the fall milestones in the grade.
Fall map data. So map is like a that's a good question. So map is like a pre-indicator test, right? So it's across the district to give a map exam, right? And then for that map data, we can draw inferences of what our end of year data looks like, right? So like our goal is to move half of our kids, but more than half of our kids up to this area here, 49% developing. Right. So last year we finished the year here. We need to get this. We need to increase this number to here, basically. And so that's our challenge for you.
Where do we start?
Last year, I don't have the data in front of me, but we started us and said we regress. Like there was regression last year. And so from I don't remember the math one, but from milestone to milestone, there was regression in this context. Right. So we had to fix things. Like we had to make some adjustments, and we had to shift because this number last year went down by 5 points. Right. And so we need to go. And so I believe that the structure we have in place around what we're doing with curriculum, around what we're doing with coaching and feedback, and if POCs and lesson alignment, the right focus is in place is what needs to be done. Like I can rest assured that we are doing the right work in that area. And so there have been several changes to ensure that we can continue to go forward. And so we're at the point now where, to me, like there's nothing else to focus on but like what's happening in the classroom. The school's a good space, so that's where all our efforts are.
Yeah, my comment / question is changing. So what's the interim measurement in testing?
Right.
Like, how do we know that we're leaning towards success versus failure? How do we use the students who engage, dropping, what are we in the middle?
Right. Right. So this is the data we require to go overnight. What we're doing as a school is some of assessment data, formative assessment data, and that's data gathered weekly. Every week we are assessing our students on the effectiveness of the lesson they're having in class. So essentially, if I go into class and let's say I have an exit ticket or I have a subject assessment for the week, my teachers will take that information and then actually will get retaught the information and show them the opportunity to be successful on that. What we should not be doing is moving through the curriculum and we find out here, like 2 months later, that Andrew's behind. So we are assessing on a weekly basis to ensure we're tracking and monitoring our students.
So from a strategic perspective, knowing where the numbers are, where the target is, I think all great. However, how much responsibility we put the single teacher in the classroom? Like,
right.
Like what is the supplementary support to make sure that the teacher and the student get there, and then ask that question.
Right.
What is to make sure that whatever content you're teaching is connected to the relevancy of the student, so to capture the fundamental to then be able to pass this thing.
Right, and so what we're doing is that's why we're putting a lot of our game for buck in acceleration block. So what is an acceleration block? So it's not all one teacher. Everybody stops what they're doing, and all 11th grade is supporting American Living. So even though everybody in the building for this grade level is supporting American Lit. Everybody in this building at this time frame is supporting biology. Everybody in this building at the time is supporting Algebra 1. So we have an all hands on deck approach for targeted times during the day where everybody will support this content area. So it's not just about that one teacher, right? And then it's like for literacy, the way that all teachers support that everybody should be reading in every class. So like, but American Lit is like subject, but they're reading in all their classes. Like so everything goes together when it comes to the teacher moves, the expectations, the expectation around reading and writing. Like all those are all turned into every PLC to be consistent. That you're gonna write in every class. You're gonna read in every class. When it's time for acceleration, you're gonna get acceleration around the same thing everybody is, and we're gonna have the same common language around the standard to help everybody when they get to this hard, right? And so it's not just like last year there was isolation, and then when we got to intervention, it was okay. You need help with phonics. We're gonna go here to recover for what happened in 7th grade. We're gonna go here. You're gonna get help with this class, and it was not consistent. This year, we're taking a more consistent approach to ensure that we are all speaking the same language around American Lit. But it's not just American Lit, it's around all content areas based on grade level. This is our algebra. And so algebra 1, this is 9th grade. And so I want to take a minute to look at this. And so our biggest gains last year was in algebra 1. So I want you to know this, we have to remember. So again, as a school transitions between principals, we now go and we start marketing to families. We like our demographic may change. We start attracting more students. We grew substantially in the amount of students we had in our building. So like we have over 500 choices at this point, which is a lot for us. Projected to keep on going up year to year. And so as you see a shift in like the culture of the school, shifts like a lot of things in the data as well. So our kids last year was backtracking. The milestone before this, 21, 22, we had 18% of our kids performing developing the above. So we grew from 18% to 27% developing above. And algebra 1, that is gigantic gains, right? There's a huge gains in mathematics, right? This year, with the students that are coming in, we're already performing 40% developing above, right? Which is substantial. That means that we have talented students that came to go. Some also details in this data. When we started changing the narrative and attracting students during the school year, we had several scores that were also proficient and above that did not count because the kids were not here for full academic. If that makes sense. We had about 10 students who came from us from different schools in the middle of the year because they weren't at FAY for the whole entire school year. Their scores did not count, but they will count for biology this year in 10th grade. But this is where we're at now. 40% of our kids are already developing above, right? But we had 8 kids who were proficient above on the math exam. Our goal is 47%, and so now we need to be altered because we're already going to pull that out of the wall. But we had significant growth here from year 1 to year 2, and from here, what I'm anticipating with our consistent structure, what we're doing in all 9th grades of 40 in this subject at that taker time and speaking the same language, and a rock star teacher in there in this grade. With the right support, like I do think that like we'll start seeing that turn and really get that data in the right direction. So I'm excited for that. And that is significant growth as a school. And so to me, as we continue to move forward and continue to do the right work, we're going to see the gain. So this is just one milestone of the data. We have some of the assessment data, former assessment data. We'll have another map next semester, and that next map exam is going to show us where we compare to this goal. And again, map is a great indicator of milestone scores. So 40% of our kids performing below and above is fantastic, but still not good enough. Like 100%, the answer has to be 100% of kids performing above on grade.
When is the next math exam?
It's in February. So that's our next one. And then, but again, like throughout the year, like we are consistently utilizing our student performance data. So this is just a snippet of it that we have to go over tonight, but we're like the one thing we're not going to do this year is like caught off guard, like thinking our kids are going to perform certain type of way. And to me, with the right talent in place, like working hard for students, like I do think that we have the right pieces in place and components to really be impactful.
And then Meepo will be biggest part.
Say it again?
The Meepo will be bigger.
Oh, it's in Illuminate. So we have Illuminate's a platform that we're using to assess students. It gives us quick data and quick feedback. And so that's how we compile the data. Right. Got it. Yeah. So in Illuminate, yeah, so it's all in Illuminate. We, as I have a team, as an ILT, we go through and we review the data. When we sit down as a team weekly and we say, okay, on this standard, Mr. Fuller has X amount of this class achieved this level. What are the coaching moves that we're doing for this teacher to impact the rest of the kids? What's the recovery plan? What's the small group intervention and differentiation structure we're going to do in this classroom? Here's sure that these kids get a chance to retest to show they can master it. And so that's happening on the weekly.
Is that a tool that was selected by the school or was it mandated like?
That's a personal schools platform that we're using. And it's one that we're trained on that's been consistent. I think last year, and just being transparent, last year we made the tool ourselves. So we were capturing it on Google Docs for teacher informative assessments that were made in our professional learning communities. And then but now the Illuminate's a more research-based driven tool that makes it easier for teachers. It's quick and dirty to gather the data, and then it actually breaks it down for us. We have an easier way of analyzing it back to work with the data. So yeah, but it's not mandated by the teachers. And this is what it looks like on a teacher. And so you can see the percentages here, like if you can see from that far, but it speaks to like the ranges, right? So like beginning students is scored between 50 and 69. So the amount we had in developing above is 3 ranges up here. And to have distinguished students, like for us to have kids who are distinguished in math, like that's fantastic. We need more kids to get into the green. Ultimately, we don't want to get kids just to be above developing above. That's not good. It's not good at being developed. That's just like all grade level. We got kids across the grade level. We've got a lot of times kids.
And this is so the testing strategy is already creating part of the tool that's the teacher creates based on, or the school, or how is it like? How do you issue with ELA tests to a level?
Right. So couple things, right? So, and that's one of the things we also have to account for on air in the data, right? So because obviously kids take milestones more serious than you take math, right? Especially in the 11th grade. So one is that as a school, we have good force for testing environment. Okay, so when we're doing a test, we shut down the building like we're doing at EOC, trying to imitate exactly what the course exam would look like in a math test. So cell phones are turned in, we walk in, have the prompts from the proctor. There's proctors to support for testing. We try to imitate exactly what happens on the test, including like taking take rate sequence, including monitoring students' time on the test and time on task sequence. And then what we do as administrative team and coaches, we walk by and we are watching to make sure that is exactly what we thought it would be. So we say, hey, Mr. Taylor's teaching. He has all the kids, but they look focused. They're from the computer. Mr. Taylor's monitoring his computer screen to make sure kids are on task, but they're not Christmas tree the test. Because if they do things like that, like Christmas tree the test, it stops them right there. Just pick random answers and just go really fast. Sorry. And so when it does that, it will prompt the proctor to stop the exam. Right now, kids can still take the time is important to. So there is like calculation of error in that aspect. Kids take it serious or not, but that's on the teacher and all of us to build those character skills and stamina. And so that's why we're putting a lot of emphasis on like you have to have stamina to write. You have to. You have to have stamina to read. Right, the basics that we take for granted, like reading with stamina is a real thing. Like writing with stamina is a real thing. And so the reason that we're shifting with like those main focuses, like this year we went low tech. If you have students here, you know we're not going to hold devices. We have devices to give kids, and they can use them to check them out in class. But we need to get back to everybody writes and everybody reads a book. So we're getting back to those basic strategies that kids have to do because they're not reading. What I felt we bumped into last year was I don't have the stamina. It is not just about like EOCs, like it was like on AP exams, like watching our superstar seniors like going to AP exams and say like I only wrote 2 paragraphs for this part of the AP exam, and like me as a person saying that's unacceptable. Like, you can't just write into paragraphs if you don't understand it, or because it was hard. You need to have the grit to write all the essays in their entirety in the time frame. Because if a comes to write the essay, everybody can write the essay. Because he's just like all of us, right? So that's where we're focusing on ensuring that we put that stamina, and that's why we're going back to a lot of paper material, reducing the main focus on a laptop. Right?
As much as I dislike things, it's are we fighting? Right? So when you look at what kids do today, you know, there's Alexa, there's Siri, there's ChatGPT, right? So how do you integrate? And the reason I ask all these questions is not based on what they're doing.
Right.
I think that's amazing. I think it's how you make it relevant so it's game.
Right.
Right, and I think that part of the testing structure that we provide is not relative to the student. So then you make a task and know you to consider this in your lives.
Right.
In an elder age in their education journey, looking forward to different milestones.
Right.
And then you give them something more to take together. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's how do you connect concept to concept or
Right.
so I don't think we can figure it out here.
Well, a couple things are happening, right? So then I have teachers at the town, Miss Collins. Like, Miss Collins' job is like to do the work, the background knowledge, so she knows what she has every Allen Poe, that's like culturally relevant for our students, right? And that's work to ensure that it is engaging. That's not just like, here's a book reading. It's like, no, like, let's relate this to your life and theme, and I'm gonna break it down as an educator, so I can say, this is why this relationship is happening right now. That's the background work in the planning process. The other piece that Mr. Stanley wants to integrate Siri or technology, that's fine. We have the technology for that, just show us it, just plan for it. Right? I think a lot, when we got lost in technology was that it was almost like it was substituting for some of the interaction between teachers, right? Google Class, guys, works on Google Classroom. I'm gonna talk for 5 minutes, Google Classroom is done. We're going back to, as an educator, before we get in technology in front of kids, we need to see the plan for technology, how we're gonna implement it, how's it going to the lesson plan, and what are the outcomes we want to get from it. That way we have safeguards in place, because we don't have safeguards in place, and we don't know what's going on with the technology. We come and see kids on the computer, having fun typing, and they're fine. Right? And on the side, they're playing Roblox, YouTubes, and AirPods. So what we need to see is that, if this is, I'm sorry, Stan's not here, Stan's gonna use the technology. He's gonna plan for a PhET lab. He's gonna explain why we're using the PhET lab, and he's gonna draw it back into his classroom. But we have to plan for the effective implementation of technology. So at the beginning of the school year, all the teachers did a technology efficacy module and showed that they knew what it was, they did the course, and now they know. And now we've done the whole planning process to implement effective technology. But it comes within like supplement. You can't just say kids are on it all day. We do want kids, right? We want kids doing the techniques they have to be successful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. We can talk about that.
I think a piece of that is also eliminate the coaches help write tests, and it's not me giving questions to students that I've already seen, they've already seen, but I can see my data.
So that should just more related to like it's understood. I gave this example of why you know that the center out of the wall is different in every wall. You know that
What's the difference?
the products in the middle of the aisle, the order are different in every wall on the tree. It's based on that. And my fear is that when you take the kids, you know that once you take the kids from, you can't build a test for a child that is in North Atlanta versus a child in South Atlanta versus a child in West Atlanta. That's the only thing I'm saying, right? And then they're like, oh, but this is not what I live every day, so I don't live to it. So I'm just gonna put it in the text because now a young teenager that probably lives on her phone, your parents don't shut you down. So that's all they know. So that was my only comment. I think tool testing structure, community within the communities around us is amazing to build a test. I just want to make sure that it doesn't go too far outside of people that it's related to from a strategic perspective, because then you're skewing data to make our success less.
I think one thing we did last year, I think books, right? It was a time to like, what books do you want?
Right.
Right now, because the kids still, like, the thing is that we got people who say, well, so you gather their interest. So like, our teachers would get like the materials from the book, it's generally interesting after they're better, right? Now, thing is that if we utilize the material that interested in this time, first game time, we're focusing on the skill set.
Right.
Like you had the opportunity to read these X, Y's, and books. And so maybe the test may might be super interesting, but it's how I spent time with the skill set
Right.
of reasons I cared about.
Right.
So you can, in this moment, because now she's built the culture in the classroom. This is important. This is why. This represents our school. This is why we're gonna do this. They have the like the character saying, even though I'm not that interested in Kill a Mockingbird, I have the skill set to say I'm gonna read this 2 paragraphs
And recognize.
and recognize theme, purpose, you know,
Inference.
narrative, main character, and just write it and write about it. So it's like, it's twofold, like, I think that's part of school pride, we represent our school, we're gonna show what you know, we have the best in the practice, right? So like, I think the materials on the school level, we've had in the vertical schools, and we have the opportunity to do a lot of selection of curriculum and books, and resources, and also those experiences. But it's all, it all goes back to shows what's wrong, that's what's said, and it's time for that, right? I think you get to a deeper philosophy on the test matter, and you know, get to that.
You should be looking at the concept really to employ about any passive test.
Right.
But I'm just concerned with learning that today on this concept. I've never known about it. Like many of us, I don't know anything about it. The ones that experience here to the ELA structure. Like we cannot deviate by no matter if you buy the books for the class, you can't deviate. So like it's kind of like how do you turn that around to make sure you teach relevant, consistent concepts for in the classroom, and even in class, turn it around and then, all right, this is we're going to read something that you probably not going to do it, but I want to make sure we landed the concepts in the book.
Right, I think it's school, I think it's school, I think we're appreciating that, right? I think that like, and that comes to like, that's because out of talented educators doing the work, right? So like, and there's something here, like, you know, Stanley, like, it's not as much of the concept, as much as taking time to say aviation school is why I'm exposure to this, I'm gonna do this. It's like it's the effort and the plan and preparation that and at the first well, that comes from being the most talented people from our kids. And that's like that's not a quick process, right? We talk about longevity down the road and maybe retaining talent, like celebrating the talent you have, because you have to have that place because otherwise you'll be stagnant. And so I think it's definitely the work that we're doing. I think we have a lot of pockets of teachers doing that work, but there's all, of course, there's pockets very different, right? So we want to have more pockets of that, like, of what you're talking about.
Thank you. So PTSA, talked a little bit briefly about it last meeting. We wanted to figure out how do we want PTSA at the school.
We want to make sure the parents really feel like they have a voice, and I think the same thing with children. You said an example about the example. So I think parents form an organization that are outreach parents that bring the help the school, and help the teachers as well. Right? So I think that's the hard is that parents are outreach, they don't feel it. They reach out and say, sponsor the band, and I had 7 parents that helped her.
That's too soon.
Right. Just I started calling people and walking talkers. So, you know, it's about reaching and getting out to school if they, you know, if they don't want to do Christian other things, and things like southern kids. So let's formulate it.
So I know there's like, and I'm not the expert, but I definitely think I can say that there's a need for it, right? We feel like as we move forward, you know, as we move forward as a school, and like, and it's our job to have to like, you know, it's like you know, everybody, all stakeholders know every time we have like a purpose. And so I know there are specific Georgia requirements to form PTSA. And so I think like we need to figure out what those requirements are. I can reach out to personal schools like it's been a question of you want PTSA. Right? There's been the questions of those conversations like this year. So I don't like to take on finding out what the requirements are for forming PTA, and then we could, you know, Yeah, where you start with that, I think the requirements and like, you have a parent group. And you have an official, like, state recognized head teacher, and there's like different levels, right? So like, we could start as like a founding group of Harvard parent organization, or we can go for the full fledged, like, we want a real official, real HSA. It's kind of where we want to take it. You have a parents right now to start that, and just like,
You know, I'm not gonna big and go home, but I feel like just start quickly. We should probably start with a parent organization and still lead it up, formulate a leadership team, that kind of stuff. And then as we get the rules and regulation, I'll make it official and move forward.
because ultimately we want parents or. Like, we don't want to be like at the school, like, we are now we're part of the city, like, team, we're working out, like, it's more, it's never take for getting going. Ultimately, we want the group that organically wants to say, we want a PTA, and we're gonna make it.
Well, we'll take somebody to rally for it. So I think, Carl and I talked about it, so we'll take on the issue from a Go Team perspective. And you're okay with it, so you approve that happening.
Right.
But, and then see where it goes, and then formulate elections that are until then, formulate something.
And in the meantime, I'll make sure to I need to form
Right.
official recognized.
That's where you can run it as a nonprofit and make contributions.
Right. I think I'm definitely getting, I think that's where we need, I think that's where we need to. For sustainability purposes, like for non-direct purposes, like. Yeah, I think it's where we need to go. That's, this national, more involvement, I just have, yeah, so, for sure.
Any announcements?
Well.
So it's not gonna do it, so back for.
There it goes.
Yeah, so we went to the Veterans Day celebration last Friday. We took 20 students from Harvard that are involved aviation program, and we also took 15 students from Price, just being mindful that we want to stop halfway K-12, and so start building interest and seeing our students as they basically back all of the planes out of the tech Austin. So it fits 8 big Delta planes. They brought in a bunch of they had the Apache helicopters, they had the Coast Guard rescue helicopter, F-16, F-18, A-10s. They had all these warplanes everywhere. And they had the pilots and stuff around, and people were hanging out by the planes. So we got pictures with several pilots, and Tom Brady happened to be there as well, since he's the spokesperson. Yeah, Tom Brady was there in attendance. So the kids got to, take a selfie with Tom Brady in the background. But I think the neatest thing is they saw the plane, the type of plane that we're building at Harvard. And then they also had several pilots and load masters that were black that came up, and they all got pictures with them all. And it was really neat because we're kind of this massive hangar, and we had probably 5 or 6 pilots congregating around. Hey, what are you guys doing? So it was really neat for our students to see themselves represented in flight at Delta. So that was a really neat thing. I've got big visions and dreams for like the future around not just maintenance, but starting a flight school here at Harvard, and also the aerospace partnership with that. What interesting. Which ones? I'm sure there are some of you. I don't know specific about okay. So yeah, it was really neat. It was fun to do that with our students. Middle school students, they were, high school students were already. Yeah, it was super cool. Yeah. Middle school, oh, this is so amazing. Let's go there.
Marketing guy, did we get any content from that? Any pictures that we can post on social?
Yeah, I've got a bunch of pictures. Remind me of these belong to Kara, and also Keely sent from Price. Got several. Nice.
That's a good one card.
We have the plane out there, the wings out on Harbor as well. Off to the, Harbor.
I mean, updates for me, I think that, as far as, I mean, we got on the data, but I think they said our kids, we were still part of the honors program, the kids who were, right for the kids going to scholarship, decided to get not kids really to be, the second round of that, it's really like some of our top, students who are out of the that. We've already exceeded the scholarship dollar amount last year, already this year, like by a lot, and so like, last year we had 8.3 million, I'll say it's a bargain, but last year we have over 8.3, so that's exciting. To see our kids like going out scholarship, we have some kids going out to this advanced day tomorrow with our kids, like grade, so what I'm seeing, we're seeing that the most of their kids, their experience out of the more scholarships are applied for, the more students are applied for. And then, of course, we got to make sure that also that people are not missing college, like it's hard to make sure that they're class. And as a opportunity, like halfway through your lesson, that was there to see that at that as well. So that was as that was so we had tested for that, for those results, and then it's probably something on my mind right now. We're a really space, it's stable space. Everyone was really up and up, so that's good. I'm excited about my work doing for my learning standpoint and the focusing on the class level, starts every class, we engage it, it's fantastic alignment. And so I'm excited about looking on that, feedback to the teachers, to ensure that the team grow. And that's what we have to do, to make sure that we're on the right track and so the monitoring around instruction is in a good space better than was last year. And so I'm just excited to see what the boost delay will be this year. And that, I think that's like not just like about like scores, it's about like I'm excited to see what numbers going to happen next year, like what's happening, the results we're going to get, what the areas going to be. There's just so many factors that feel like schools going in the right direction. And so we just gotta continue to do good work, but yeah, big dreams this year. We're going to do in like see, my 3 or 4, 5, especially with like good support at school, like good support for diversity and great families, like that really is the next big thing. It's big thing right now.
You reminded me, one of those students that he hasn't been in the program, but see, oh, I didn't know this was this, and then there's opportunity for it's a huge education. I'm certain that there is because Delta this year they have work. So I'm sure
That made me think about even actually for graduating students. I know we can't hire people, we need to start a campaign or we need to start establishing what hard to just have a cycle. I would just send this communication automatically of serious time that at least put the response to yes. I don't know if Perk says that technology. So summer's gone, Wayne said he was going to, I don't know. So Wayne House, he haven't filled out a survey as part of regulation. And then he said Wayne House, Georgia, started yesterday. Or something that right, just kind of following up. But you do like a survey that they fill out as part of the application, submission, you submit all your goals, and then we build a campaign off of it.
So I think that, I think it happens like, of course, there's always good information. So we have a really strong team when it comes to our graduation, and like, but also like, kids going to college. And so what they do is like they try to make sure every student for the college is sponsored.
Mhm.
So they, like, right now, we're having, some of the future is why I don't wanna like speak too long about it, but we have, we're looking for like, senior program, and it's really helping kids from the time they leave college or high school, all the way to the worker. And so, like, there are aspects of it that are happening on a support basis, making sure that all the kids that are going are receiving the support to get there. Like, whether it's people drop them off, or whether people like, we had several kids who got sponsorship to set their dorm rooms. And so we do have, like, I think that the criteria that we're going to like, find the donors to support kids in their transition. I do think that we have to get to a point where there's like at least a year support of constant check-ins.
And that's what I'm talking about, right? So you, it's not to cut you out, but you're talking about like, and probably volunteers, right? You should trickle volunteers.
Well, I was a kid, we had a kid in college program,
Right.
and so it's like, I do think that there's actually needs to be a part of the college. Whereas like, my job, like, full-time job is to make sure that we have Dr. Peck, who's our career counselor. And so that's, she's new this year, but like, part of that, we have to go to like, I follow the classes, follow the classes.
Right.
So I agree, right?
Yeah. Let's use tech to help it out. So add the people plus the tech, so they're in great reach both places, touch both places. So instead of using one channel, multiple channels to touch everything, you know the computer. Like you change the phone. Like you notice the computer center from they engage in it, make it quick hit. Yes or no type question, you know, like hey, probably short.
Right.
Do you need any help? You know, then you can get in. You say yes, and you respond to it. It's such a different campaign, but multiple.
And on Wednesday, they were actually like encourage them that they wait.
So I'll add. Let's add into it. Which one?
We don't have anybody here. So we're at a meeting. All right, vote to adjourn. Raise your hand, say aye. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Y'all have a good night.
Mr. Stanley, once you get off of YouTube, I have a quick question for you.
Sure.